Imagine being born on Christmas Day, a tiny, premature baby, so small, everyone expected you to die within hours. This was the start for Isaac Newton in 1643, born into a world of hardship and deep isolation. His father died before he was even born. Then, at just 3 years old, his mother remarried and left him in the care of his grandmother. This early abandonment would haunt him for the rest of his life, shaping him into an intensely private, deeply insecure, and fiercely competitive man. As a boy, Newton was a terrible student. He detested farm work and only came alive when he was tinkering. He'd spend hours building incredibly complex wooden clocks, miniature wind-powered mills, and intricate sundials. He didn't see the world as it was. He saw it as a giant, magnificent machine just waiting to be understood and mapped out. It was his uncle who saw this spark and helped him get into Trinity College, Cambridge. But he wasn't there as a privileged gentleman. He was a subsizer, a poor student who had to perform menial jobs to pay for his tuition. He was just a quiet, unnoticed boy, waiting for the world to come to a grinding halt so his real work could finally begin. And in 1665, the world did just that. The Great Plague swept across England, and Cambridge University shut its gates. Newton, now 22, was forced back to the silent solitude of his family home, Woolsthorpe Manor. But what could have been a setback turned into what historians now call his asterisk. Annus mirabilis, asterisk, the year of wonders. Locked away from the distractions of the world, Newton's mind didn't just wander, it exploded. He didn't just survive the pandemic. He used the quiet isolation to launch 3 intellectual revolutions all at once. First, he invented a new branch of mathematics he called fluxions, which we now know as calculus. It was the tool he needed to describe and calculate change and motion, something that had baffled thinkers for centuries. Second, he dove into the nature of light. Through a series of brilliant experiments with prisms, he proved that pure white light isn't pure at all. Instead, it's a composite, a beautiful spectrum of all the colors of the rainbow. And third, most famously, he saw an apple fall from a tree. Now, the story isn't just about an apple hitting the ground. The real genius was in the question he asked next. If the force of gravity can pull an apple from a branch to the center of the earth, why does that same force pull the moon out of the sky and crash it into our planet? In that moment of insight, he realized it was the same force. Gravity wasn't just some local phenomenon. It was a universal law that governed the motion of the apple and the orbit of the moon. In that one quiet, solitary year, Isaac Newton built the foundational framework for our understanding of physical reality. But here's the strange part. For nearly 20 years, Newton kept most of these world-changing discoveries to himself. He was terrified of criticism and debate. It wasn't until his friend, the astronomer Edmund Halley, the man Halley's Comet is named after, urged him, and even offered to fund the printing, that Newton finally agreed to publish his masterpiece. In 1687, the world received asterisk, Philosophiæ, Naturalis Principia, Mathematica, asterisk, or asterisk, the mathematical principles of natural philosophy, asterisk. The asterisk, Principia asterisk, is arguably the single most important scientific book ever written. In it, Newton laid out his 3 laws of motion and the law of universal gravitation. He mathematically explained Kepler's laws of planetary orbits and proved once and for all that the universe wasn't a place of divine whims, but a grand clockwork mechanism operating according to fixed, predictable, and logical rules. But with this towering intellect came a difficult and combative personality. Newton was notorious for his bitter, lifelong feuds. The most famous was his vicious rivalry with the German philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Both men had independently developed calculus around the same time. But Newton, using his immense power as the president of the Royal Society, orchestrated a campaign to accuse Leibniz of plagiarism. It was a dark, ugly display of his deep-seated insecurity, a battle that soured the scientific community and, some historians argue, set British mathematics back for a century. Later in life, Newton's focus shifted from pure science to public power. He became the master of the Royal Mint, a surprisingly high-stakes job. He applied his brilliant mind to reforming Britain's currency and became a ruthless hunter of counterfeiters, sending many to the gallows. His administrative genius was undeniable, and in recognition of his service and scientific contributions, he became the first scientist ever to be knighted, Sir Isaac Newton. Yet, even as this celebrated public figure, Newton harbored deep secrets. We now know that he spent far more of his life studying alchemy and esoteric theology than he ever did on physics or mathematics. He filled thousands of pages with notes, trying to decode hidden messages in the Bible and discover the mythical philosopher's stone. These mystical pursuits, hidden for centuries after his death, reveal a man who, after mapping the mechanical universe, was desperately searching for its divine, hidden operator, the ultimate clockmaker. Isaac Newton died in 1727, revered as a demigod of science. He was a flawed, difficult, and profoundly lonely man. But his ideas, born from a period of forced isolation, created the very language we still use to describe motion, space, and time. His genius wasn't just in solving the universe's greatest puzzles, but in giving us the tools, like calculus, and the framework, like his laws of motion, to continue asking and answering the biggest questions. He didn't just observe the universe. He gave us the map. So I have a question for you. If you had to choose one, what was Newton's greatest contribution? The discovery of gravity, or the invention of calculus? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If this story of the isolated genius fascinated you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the figures who changed our world. Thanks for watching.